It is 2 a.m. Your desk is covered in empty coffee cups, and you are reading the same paragraph for the 5th time, dragging a highlighter across words that have stopped making sense. The assumption is that more wakefulness and more hours spent at a desk will eventually lead to mastery. But this brute force approach to studying creates a biological bottleneck that prevents the brain from processing the very information you are trying to save. When you force an exhausted brain to stay awake, its ability to lay down new memories begins to shut down. This chart compares the volume of memory retention in a rested brain versus one that is sleep-deprived. The data shows a 40% decline in the ability to create new memories. These results suggest that sleep is a required, active stage of the learning cycle itself. Researcher Matt Walker maps this process through a specific biological framework. He views the brain as a data center that relies on 2 distinct operational phases to handle new information. These 2 phases bookend the waking study session. One must happen before you learn, and one must happen after. Following this biological timeline changes the requirements for being prepared to learn. The process begins the night before you attempt to absorb a new concept or practice a skill. During this phase, the brain prepares its short-term inbox to receive data, similar to a wet sponge being tightly wrung out so it can soak up new liquid the next day. Without that prior sleep, the short-term inbox remains at maximum capacity, filled with data blocks from your previous waking hours. When you try to study in this state, new information essentially bounces off the inbox. The brain is physically unable to register the incoming signals. This means that without sufficient rest the night before, the learning process is blocked before you even open a book. Eventually, the timeline moves into the waking hours, where active reading and focused listening or physical drills occur. The information gathered during this period is held in a fragile state, stored only in temporary neural circuits. At this stage, the knowledge is still unsecured and remains vulnerable to being overwritten or lost by the end of the day. The cycle completes during the night following the study session. While the body finally rests, the brain remains highly active, performing a highly specific set of data management tasks. This diagram shows the transfer process, where the day's fragile data packets are migrating from the temporary storage zone into a secure, permanent location. This migration is what allows the information to lock into long-term memory. Missing this post-study sleep phase means the day's work is never saved, effectively erasing the efforts of the previous day. When we look at our daily routines, there's a clear disconnect between our cultural habits and our biology. Many education and work environments encourage a work now, sleep later mentality, which ignores the mechanics of how the brain actually acquires knowledge. Treating sleep as a luxury is a strategy that is incompatible with the physical requirements of memory retention. Sleep is a biological requirement for the brain to function as a learning organ. It acts as the second half of every training program or study session, performing the work that cannot be done while we are awake. The work of learning does not end when you close the book. It only concludes when you wake up the next morning.